Hey, welcome to the 4th beer review episode on the Trough Network. I'm your host, Eddie Dudek. With me as always is
Neal,
and we have a special guest. Woo! Special guest today. This is our friend, you can introduce yourself.
Wait. Sorry, too much Acre beer. My name is Sean Cassidy. There we go.
There we go. Sean Cassidy, thanks for joining us. We're having a fun day here. We're about to try Double Daisy Cutter, which Neal will tell you about in a second, but we're hanging out, we're brewing some beers, tasting some beers. It's, hopefully we get a good episode to you guys this week.
So we've got Double Daisy Cutter here. It is a double pale ale from Half Acre Brewery, also local to Chicago, which we've had plenty of time before. It's 8% alcohol, and it is very delicious.
Yeah. So we were kind of arguing or discussing earlier what exactly is a double pale, especially compared to the likes of an IPA, because it kind of seems like an IPA is already an intense pale.
Exactly.
What does an intense pale get us if it's not an IPA?
Exactly.
Apparently it's a double. And we realized, you came across the reason why, and it seemed to be that there's still less hops. It's more alcoholic than a pale ale, but it's not as insanely over-the-top hopped as an IPA.
It doesn't have to make that journey.
Yeah, referencing the fact that IPAs used to be so that they would survive the trip overseas by adding tons of hops into it.
Yep.
But, so we're expecting some boozy, maybe, alcohol-y goodness.
Well, I was thinking anything that's 8%. I mean, the original Daisy Cutter itself is a very smooth, but I've always enjoyed the way that it unlike most pale ales, I think they tend to be very smooth and it's just very simple.
Yeah.
And it's nice, and but the Daisy Cutter has always had something kind of more to it, a lot of mouthfeel, a lot of something that lingers, and it's a really nice aftertaste. So I'm intrigued to find out how much more intense this gets when we double it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
I'm very excited. I'm sorry.
Neal, you want to do the honors?
Yep.
All right. Well, cheers, gentlemen. So, once again, it's nice to drink this out of a tulip-type glass, and his is even more, or Neal's is even more tulipy.
Double tulip.
Double tulip for a double pale. And so one of the things that does for you is it really helps bring out the aroma, and that's a big part about tasting these beers, is especially when you're talking about a hoppy beer. You want to be able to smell the different types of hops that are actually in it.
Well, I mean, at this point in time, it's bringing another sense into it, and from what we're talking about all five senses in a sense, and how many can you get engaged with the beer. I mean, you can take a look at the color. I mean, maybe there's nothing necessarily to write home about there, but put your nose into the glass, bam, you're hit with that first aroma of hops, and then you take the sip, and then it's you can feel the different places on your tongue that it's interacting with. And then the thing, I guess, the great thing about this that I mentioned about the original Daisy Cutter that this also has is that really sort of great mouthfeel. And it lingers, and it kind of tingles the roof of my mouth, and it kind of feels like it stays on my tongue long after I've actually consumed the beer.
That's a good point. I'm actually impressed with the color and how perfectly golden it is. Like it gets a little orange in the center, but wow, it's golden, and that's kind of cool to me.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, I feel it a lot more on the roof of my mouth than actually on the back of my tongue. Overall, though, it's very, very smooth, particularly for 8% alcohol.
Right. I was going to say, there's no boozy notes. You're not getting alcohol in this. I mean, you're getting the alcohol, but you're not tasting it.
Yeah.
The only way that I might be able to taste it is in the respect that, you kind of get, a little bit, I don't want to say the back of your tongue as much as, the top of your throat. It's almost, past the point of your tongue. It's, almost like a little, not spicy, hot, almost like the alcohol hot on the top of my throat.
Yeah, it's the thing is sort of, once you take a couple of sips, just kind of closing your mouth and inhaling through your nose and kind of feeling that air go down in the back of your throat, you can kind of feel how it lingers. And I think that that's probably the only place where you could tell, because I mean, that's one of the things, the complicated areas where that beer enters, is that when it goes to get more alcoholic and when you're trying to put more into it, it becomes the challenge is trying to make it still taste smooth and not necessarily smooth, but simple, to not overwhelm someone with a sense of alcohol.
And they did a fantastic job with this in that respect.
Absolutely.
So what are you guys tasting as far as the hops are concerned? Like, are you getting a lot of citrus?
I get citrus right away.
Okay.
At the very beginning of the sip, but it doesn't linger.
Yeah. See, I'm not great yet at picking out what the actual, like, it's grapefruit as opposed to orange or something. Like, I'm not great at that yet. But it's a good citrus. Like, the aroma is a punch in the face of citrus in a great way. You know, as we can all attest. It's actually very clean, though. Much cleaner smell than I was expecting.
Like I said, it's very... I mean, I hate to, like, hammer on this whole the mouthfeel thing, but you're experiencing it as you breathe it in and you take the drink. And then it hits the front of your tongue, and you get the initial taste, a little bit of bitter from the hops. You can tell that there's something in there. A little bit of citrusy taste, and then it sort of dissipates. You know, you don't feel it all the way across your tongue. It sort of dissipates across the rest of your mouth, and that's where you get, like, again, the sort of the mouthfeel, all the sort of tingling everywhere, which is just, it's a very unique thing. And you know, I've tried a decent amount of beer. I haven't had everything yet.
There's always time. It's coming.
But it's something very unique that I found it to Daisy Cutter and to this particular style of beer, and it's something that I really, really like.
Yeah, I feel like they must have, in order to keep, that unique mouthfeel and that great mouthfeel, they must have really like done a good job adding to what, I don't know what grains they use, but grains and malt are like where you're going to get the mouthfeel, and usually pale ales are a little light in that because you're typically, what, 4 or 5% on alcohol, at most, right. And so they're not going to have a lot of grains, and they're not going to have a lot of unique grains that will give the mouthfeel that you'll get from, well, darker beers, because they're all about the grain as opposed to all being about the hop. So it's really cool to try something that, you know, that has such a great mouthfeel because of that.
By the way, in case anyone notices, we are currently going for the world record for the most times mouthfeel used in a 5-minute span on this particular episode.
Please, we've never had a 5-minute episode. We shoot for 5 and they're always like 8. That's alright.
It's because the beer is delicious.
Can't help but talk about it. Alright. You guys about ready to give it a rating?
Yes.
Alright, so I think we're going to stick with a thumbs up, middle, thumbs down rating.
For now.
So I'm going to give it a thumbs up.
We might develop something later.
Right, maybe.
I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I really liked it. I could drink this all day, quote unquote. You know, all day except for the fact that it's super alcoholic and I'd be under the table. But so I'm giving it a thumbs up. Very hoppy, good citrus notes. I like it.
I'm also going to give it a thumbs up. I actually didn't, I mean, I like my beer super hoppy, like crazy over the top hoppy. So when I drink this, it's not super hoppy to me. I get to taste the hops, which I like because I like bitter. I like a bitter flavor in my beer, but it's not like punch in the mouth, which is my personal preference, but still an absolute thumbs up.
Okay. For me, I'm going to go middle of the road. Mostly this is personal preference. I would like to go like middle plus, simply because I'm not big on like the pale ale piece, just because I'm not a big hop drinker. But as a non-hop drinker, this was very, very good. For me, it almost feels like a good segue into becoming more of a hop drinker. So it's definitely one that if I was hesitant about trying a double pale ale, it would be an excellent one to start that transition.
It's a gateway beer.
Exactly, it's a gateway beer.
We'll actually get you to try the regular Daisy Cutter someday soon.
Well, I feel like that's not going to be much of a stretch now that I've already had the double.
Yeah, but it's delicious and cheaper.
Yes.
And more available.
See, he goes big before he goes home.
There you go. Alright, so thank you for watching the 4th episode of the beer review. Thanks, Sean, for joining us and helping out.
Thank you for the beer.
Of course. It was going to be tough to drink 2 bombers of this between Neal and I, let's be honest.
Yeah.
No, not that. So yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully you'll tune in next time.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you.